I love it.
I call this council meeting for January 20th, January 9th, 2020. And we'll start with the invocation and the pledge, and I would like for Pastor Taylor, if he wouldn't mind for the invocation, please.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you, praise you, and honor you. Lord, let us be about your business and the village business. May it prosper and grow. May there be unity, love, and peace here. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And first up would be our approval of minutes for, I'm sorry. Mr. Gilpin, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Coogan?
Here.
Ms. Shepherd?
Here.
Ms. Hallfield?
Here.
Ms. Ross?
Here.
Thank you. And then the next order of business will be the approval of minutes for December 12, 2019. Has everyone received those, reviewed those, and is there any amendments or corrections to those? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept them as read.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from the December 12th, 2019 meeting as read.
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Coogan and Mrs. Shepherd. Mr. Gilpin?
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Thank you. And next on to communications, we have Samuel Fondorf, the president of the National Honor Society from Bethel Tate High School. He has some communication that he would like to share with the council on some ideas that he has. So.
Alright, well, good evening everyone. My name is Samuel Fondorf, and as he said, I am the president of the National Honor Society at Bethel State High School. For those of you who aren't as familiar with us, we are a community service organization that is student-led. We operate out of the high school, and we do a lot of work here in Bethel and the surrounding communities as well when we can get the opportunity. Today I just wanted to take a few minutes to present to you an opportunity for collaboration on a project which I believe the National Honor Society and the Village of Bethel have a common interest in completing. So today, if I could just have a few minutes of your time, I'd like to go over first the overview of that project, secondly, some of the benefits of that project, and thirdly, how a collaboration between our two groups could further the success of that project and help to get it accomplished. So first of all, for the project overview, what I'm proposing is that a combined effort between the National Honor Society, the Village of Bethel, the BVA, and the school board be used to host an annual fireworks show for the Village of Bethel beginning this year in May. As to a location of the event, we would hope to have this at Burke Park, so we can make use of those venues for both the live music, for food, and for different games and events that we could have before those fireworks to help bring more people to that event. As to a date, we're shooting for Saturday, May 16th. And that was deliberately chosen to correspond with the annual rowing competition we have at East Fork. So we hope to be able to promote this event directly at that rowing competition and bring some of their business here into Bethel for our schools, for our community, and for our businesses. That date of May 16th also allows us to present this as an end-of-school celebration, seeing as how the last day of school is actually on that May the 20th. So as for advertising, we hope to promote this here in Bethel, in the community, and then also directly at that rowing contest. We also hope to reach out to the surrounding communities using NHS's resources and promote it across the county, New Richmond, Batavia, Amelia, etc. So the biggest hurdle in this event is actually the planning of the fireworks themselves. I was recently able to talk to a representative from the Zambelli Fireworks Corporation. They're based out of New Richmond, and they take on all the services from planning the event to launching the fireworks to permits to $10 million in liability insurance. So we were able to have a conversation about that. And we found it desirable to actually launch those fireworks from the field in between Hill Intermediate and Big Primary. So in that way, you'd be able to see those fireworks from Burke Park. We could host the entire event there. The minimum cost for such an event would be $3,000, and that would purchase an 8 to 10 minute show with the ability to increase that budget and hence increase the length of the show if we were able to find those funds. As far as the funding goes, I was able to present this at the BBA's meeting on Monday, and we did receive an incredible amount of support from those businesses. I'm glad to say that we've already received an offer of $1,500 from the legendary Dairy Bar, as well as $500 from Community Savings Bank. And so thank you to those organizations, and we'll be sending out a letter soon to the remaining organizations of the BBA, essentially asking for those contributions in a more formal manner, and we certainly hope to receive more than the $3,000 goal here shortly. As to collaboration here with the Village Council, certainly this is a big job, and we need all of Bethel to come together in order to promote the success of this event. So from the Village Council, we would hope to have two methods of collaboration. First of all, your expertise in this area we can definitely make use of, especially as it pertains to the police, the fire, the EMS presence at such an event. That is certainly not where the NHS is expertise, but you guys do know what you're doing as far as that is concerned. Additionally, we would hope to have your support administratively and be able to work together to secure permits for Burke Park, for those fireworks to be launched in the middle of town, and to make this event go smoothly and successfully. So anyway, I do ask for your support in that manner, certainly as it pertains to the administrative, but also just that you would consider it for the sake of the schools, for the businesses, and for the community as a whole. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does Council will have any questions or anything for him? or-
Oh, yes, questions.
Well, just to let you guys know, we were in attendance at this meeting, Jay, myself, and and our administrator, Mr. Dawson. Anyways, the guy I forget all the time. Anyways, we kind of gave a off-the-side commitment off of my side, because I'm planning a concert right around the same time. I was looking at the week before, but I'm pushing it to that week. So,
That was my question, if it was going to coincide with any other events, or if it was just planning on being...
Well, that was originally how it was conceived, wasn't a
Okay.
standalone event, but after speaking to Mr. Coogan,
Okay.
we agreed that it would be best to combine our events into something larger and more successful.
yeah, and I've also consulted the American Legion, who is going to provide the food and beverage for this event. And Mr. Fondorf is also requesting that we get sponsorship through various companies and whatever. I'm going to have him coordinate that, because he's going to get the funds off of that directly for the park. Set up, little booths and whatnot, so they can sell their wares. The only thing I've requested is no food and beverage, so that our guys and gals at the Legion can make their bones. And maybe smoothies or something, because you guys don't provide those. So, anyways, back to questioning.
Okay. The only question I have is, do you have a deadline for the initial 3,000 that you need to turn
Yes, we
in?
do. They gave us from Zan Valley Fireworks Corporation a deadline of late March to give them 2 months in preparation.
Okay, late March.
Yeah. Then I would request through the Burke Trust possibly to match the funds to at least get him started.
I think that would have to go through the whole
Yeah, we'd have
commission.
to,
Yeah,
Okay.
council would have to make a request for that.
To the commission, though, we don't
Yes,
approve
council would
that.
make a
Okay.
request to the commission, yeah.
so we could do that.
All right, well.
So when do you plan, when do you plan on
Travis is calling.
having the
Card.
funds done, like, when's your deadline to get the funds? So we know if we're gonna match, like, is he okay? Is he okay?
We expect
He's
to,
okay.
we suspect that if,
Is he diabetic by chance?
I don't know. Sam?
Okay.
Do you have seizures?
Locked his knees.
what's that?
You okay?
Oh, yes.
Start leaning forward on this.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
You have any diabetic issues or anything like that?
No, I'm all right.
Okay, just
Locked his nervous.
Yeah, sit down.
take a seat for a minute, okay?
Well, thank you guys for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think he's okay. No, he's not okay.
He's got a
He's very dilated.
Yeah, should we call a doctor?
Cold calling.
Or chief will take, chief's,
Can you sit back, please?
He feels hot.
yeah.
His fingers are cold and he's sweating.
Okay, take a seat for me, okay?
Sit back.
Oh, you got EMT?
Go ahead, sit down for me, okay? Right there.
If you can.
Yeah, I don't think he can. I think he's in a seizure.
Yeah, I think he is too.
I have a girl I work with and she does this at work and it's a seizure.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Tom 90. Hey, I have a guy that's having a possible seizure at my office. Can you send me EMS over, please? Oh, he's 18, male. Just have him come to the second story. Yes, he is. Yeah, but he's not really responsive. He's awake, but he's not really responsive. Yes. Okay. The second floor of our office.
Either end.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
I think
Bye.
just do February.
Yeah, we do. I've got an AED and everything out in the hallway too. Yep. You might go out in the hall for me. I don't think we need it, but there's an AED right there on the, just grab it off and bring it in for me, please. Okay. Okay, what's your name?
It's Samuel Fondor.
Okay, where you at?
At the Bethel Village Council meeting.
What is today's date?
It's the 9th of January.
Okay, you do a lot better than most people. All right.
You do better than me.
Other people can't tell me half of that, and whatever, they're perfectly fine. Yep.
He's dropped down. He's not allergic.
Yeah, he's sweating pretty good.
Are you able to sit down?
You able to sit down right behind you? I got a chair right behind you,
No,
okay?
sit down.
Good, take a seat. for me.
Does it have a time on her other eyes?
That's mine.
No.
That's mine. Here's your water, won't you go take a sip for me, okay? Anything to eat today at all?
Not since lunch.
Okay. Are you diabetic at all, do you know? Okay. You're sweating a little bit, can I take this off you?
Yeah,
Does
sure.
it cool down a little bit?
Sam, do you have any allergies?
No.
Just put it right there behind you, okay? You're all covered in sweat, my man.
Emma, wonderful.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Do you have a phone number for your phone?
We do, I can give it to you.
Okay, go ahead.
It's 513-659-1671.
Somebody give a call, please?
Yeah, we call his parents.
1671?
1671.
Don, do you got it?
Yeah, he's calling.
Did Bill get it?
659-1671.
Who's calling?
659-1671.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes.
You want to take a 15-minute recess?
Yeah, let's take a couple minutes.
I think we have to take a vote.
We're in recess for 15 minutes, please. Thank you.
No, I think we're good. I'm just gonna hang here.
We'll do a roll call.
Just get these for a couple minutes, get cooled down, all right? You're faint, a little faint on us.
It's interesting.
Yeah, you ever had any history of anything like that before?
I did once after exercise.
Okay. After like strenuous exercise and things like that, stress probably brings it on a little bit. Okay. I called EMS for you, okay? We're gonna have them come over, at least check you out. We'll get you in the back of the squad, we'll get you cooled down.
Okay.
And we'll let them do an assessment on you, okay? We'll let them decide whether they want to take you to the hospital or not, okay? They should be here in just a minute.
No answer.
Is your mom's name Valerie?
Yeah.
Okay, then I called the right number. Is there another number I can call, Sam?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
Are you ready for it?
Uh-huh.
513-314-7947.
Is this your dad? Okay, what's his name?
It's Gregory Condor.
Okay.
No, you're good, you're good. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna leave you sitting here until they get here, okay? When they get here, a little session. I don't want you to move and pass out on me or anything, trying to go down our steps. It's not the most friendly thing to go down. So how long ago you said you had a history of this?
It was only the one time, but
How long ago was that?
in a few years.
Okay, so it's been a couple of years since you had it, okay. Any history of seizures or anything like that?
No.
You're 18, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, they're pulling in now, I can see that.
Yep.
Putting 150% into
Sure, absolutely.
Seen it happen many
Yeah.
times.
He's doing great.
Judy, can you do me a favor? Can you go out and meet them? Sure. Just let them know where we're at. Thank you. They'll probably come on the north side. Judy?
And it,
Will you let her know they'll probably come on the north side?
They're the same.
Oh,
I
they're
was
on that
saying,
side. Okay.
there's a reason automatic bachelor's funds, right? Good job. You're crying, seriously.
Yeah, crying would make good.
Yeah, what's that about?
Yes.
If that was part of the plan, the Oscar goes to.
Yeah, the Oscar goes to get you a Golden Globe or something.
Yeah.
He's gotta come to the school board meeting on Monday.
There you go. Fantastic.
He's got that ahead of him.
They're on their way. You gave them an awesome presentation.
yeah.
Well, thank you.
Hey, Dan. Your 18-year-old male giving a presentation, basically was passed out, went forward on the podium. 2 years ago, with history of a seizure only one time. Not sure if he just overexerted, overhot, he's sweating like crazy. Got beads of sweat all over him.
What's your name?
It's Samuel Fondor. Samuel Fondor.
Samuel? Samuel. What's going on, Dad?
I feel pretty good now.
Feel a little bit better now? Okay. Well, let's take a look here, all right?
We got a couple of vials on, and maybe
Yeah.
see how he's doing.
You take medications when you're using
No,
for anything?
no.
Oh, I'll get to that.
We're gonna need to call EMS to get you up, man.
I just don't want him feeling like he's in the middle of everybody's starting.
So what happened?
Well, Mr. Noble asked me a question, and then that was that.
It wasn't there. It wasn't.
Way to go, Jay.
I was actually doing my answer, and obviously then that was when you guys showed up.
You can't say your first meeting as mayor wasn't memorable
It was uneventful.
for council.
Oh, I still got a big long speech too.
How many pages is that? That looked really thick. It's 13.
Well, it's printed really big, so.
Okay. That's like me reading a book. I have to get the large version now, so yeah, okay.
It wasn't that printed big, because I couldn't read it, it was just easier to find my spot if I looked off.
That's the next step.
If it was a little like the one, I'd be like,
Well, I have around that, Jay.
You had lunch? Take lunch.
Yeah, he said they'd be here in about 10 minutes.
You don't want to be in touch.
Yeah, they're on their way. They said they'd be here in about 10 minutes.
Okay, fantastic.
I thought it was pretty cool. During his presentation. He was so anybody.
If you would consider it a couple of years ago, that's what you're saying.
You got that.
Here's my card. He was going.
Well, it was, you thought it was, or?
Well-
It was around, you thought it was?
I passed out, but
Jay, would you like us to clear the room?
We're in recess, right?
yeah, we're in
We're just in
recess, if you
recess.
guys want to step out or
Privacy.
whatever, that's fine, you can, you don't have to. I
I'm
guess.
gonna give him some privacy.
Yeah, let's just go ahead.
Hang out.
What we have here is home medical.
that's the fireworks.
Say that Janet present a baby pool. Baby beer or something.
It's so great, clear the road.
Yeah, I feel it. And standing ovation.
That's okay.
I'm glad they're all out, man.
That's right.
See you try to get back up.
Yeah, that's right. Given a presentation, they hit some questions, he went to answer and forward he goes.
Good eye?
What's that?
Did I?
Did you hit the floor?
Should I have?
No, we caught you before you did that.
It's easy to cuff him while going.
Cuffing and stuffing, man.
What's your station name? 28706, no, 706.
What's your first name?
Samuel.
Samuel?
Yep,
Samuel?
correct.
What's your last name, Samuel?
Last name is Frondorf.
Birthday, Samuel?
What's that?
What's your birthday?
It's September 20th,
September 20th?
2001.
They call it Parents' Day is on his way up here. I have about a 5-minute ETA. 5 minutes, we can get 10, so. Just basically, just stopped responding and started leaning on the podium started going like this, and we caught him before it went over, so.
Yeah, go ahead. Did he, actually seize?
No, just, pupils
Just passed
went
out.
dilated, and I think it was probably just heat exhaustion, covered in sweat, bead the sweat all over, and his shirt was just dripping. He took the jacket off of him.
Were you been hot today?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. The unusual.
Samuel, what's your middle initial, bud?
G, G as in Gregory.
And where you live, right?
It's, you want the address?
Yeah.
3017 Lake Trail Lane,
Georgetown?
Bethel, Ohio.
Set this right here.
All right.
Sorry, I was out on the other squad.
No, it's fine. I didn't know.
I was like, well, I know Chief's there, so.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
This one will be nice.
So I think there was another one went on Bethel Concord while they were
It's the
in here.
Williamsburg side, she called her
Oh,
first.
okay.
She just called the station, said there was flames over this guy's fence, and she, I said, okay, we'll call 911. She said, well, last time I called 911, they told me to call the firehouse. I'm like, I said,
Yeah, I don't want to think about it.
Samuel, what's your phone number, buddy?
513 808 3358.
Do this again. So, Johnny on the spot.
He was.
What insurance? Yeah, we just had the issue the other day. That mom?
Yeah, Dad's on his way.
Hey.
Hey. Blood sugar?
No,
94.
No, okay.
Yeah, that's what it
Okay. Is it 2?
Has he ever had something like this before, Bob?
No, he's not, to our knowledge.
She said about 2 years
Well, I was
ago,
talking about, I never had a cross country.
he kind of got over.
Then released that over the college. Then it was in the garage.
Okay, well, yeah, we assumed it was a overheated situation and he went to pass out.
He was absolutely sweating like crazy and had his
Was he?
jacket on and everything. He was giving his presentation, and they were doing a little Q&A after the presentation and stuff.
I got through it at
He
least.
got through it. So-
He's run high for blood pressure, we never figured it out. He's
Okay.
in the 40s.
His pulse, it's still
Probably not that low.
41.
what's your pulse normally run?
Well, it's usually low. I don't know.
Usually low around it?
Yeah, good.
What's his blood pressure?
His blood pressure is 120 over 80.
Oh, then you're more normal than normal.
So he,
Your pulse is a little low.
What is it?
It's about, it's very between like 46 and 50.
That's pretty normal.
That's normal for you? Okay.
he was at the podium, Q&A, he started answering and stuff. So, we called him before he went down, but, so.
So you wanting that?
I did, yeah.
You wanting to do the fireworks?
I do, yeah.
Well, I think you should tell me if you take pity on you.
Did you get a blood sugar on him?
Yeah,
What's
99.
your name?
Yeah, that's okay. No, that's all right. No, you're fine.
All right. You wanna go to the hospital with it?
Well, I'm hoping to go to EMT class after this.
So, to get
I'm
this
gonna see
later.
what's going on now, and so I'm gonna get here after that meeting. I feel Or do we call them?
You get, like I said, I just kinda wonder how much you've eaten today, what you drank today.
Well, drank plenty, but see, I had like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and some good old,
That's all you eat.
well, for lunch, you know, I had like a burrito for breakfast.
That's it.
I'm not hungry.
It's pretty normal for there, I'm gonna go home and just bulk feed.
When you get around like that, your metabolism is probably way up there, so I mean, you probably
Yeah, you need,
shoot for the calories pretty quick.
you need the fuel to run the vehicle. You don't put gas in the tank, it won't run. A lot of times you can get nervous, you'll vasodilate, and you'll bottom out.
Well, it was the same presentation I gave you the other day. This
You were sitting down for that one
I was sitting
though.
down.
You lock your legs.
You lock your legs.
Oh,
Oh, man.
It'd be like graduation. Boom!
There's
always one every
in the
year.
Army that was on parade field, that he locked his legs, broke his nose.
And everyone else stood there and watched him.
Didn't move.
I feel calm now. Feel normal now.
You wanna try standing up while we're here, just to see how you feel, let's see how you feel on your feet there, how you feel?
Great.
Sure?
See the sweat from the chair, I mean, he's, yeah, he's sweating like crazy.
So what do you guys?
Kind of a deal.
Yeah, can you give me?
Well, their recommendation is always gonna be run over to the hospital and have him checked out, because we're not doctors. None of us are, and all we can do is just, you know, the basic check his blood sugar and all that kind of stuff. But if he's got some kind of something going on that may progress, you may want to be looked
That
at.
pulse is 47.
My concern is the overheating. I mean, I'm standing here with 3 shirts on and a vest, and I'm not hot, but what's leading him to profusely sweat in the seat and just wear a pair of jeans and a shirt? That would be concerning
How old are you,
to
sir?
me, but ultimately it's gonna be up to him and you guys if he goes to the hospital.
Do you guys, are you able to do a 12 years?
Yeah, oh no, we can do that, but that would make you feel better, we absolutely can. Could walk you out there and we'll put you on the cardiac monitor.
It's nice and warm, it's not bounding, it's not, it's cold, it's clammy. Like I said, it's nice. It's pretty much your basic vaso. The pressure is probably bottomed out. When you got a gallon of water and a gallon jug, everything's fine. You make the jug 2 gallon size and you still got a gallon of water, then the problem is, like, you're young, so your stuff goes like this real quick. I'm old and I've had too many cheeseburgers.
See how long it took him to get off the ground?
My stuff, my stuff in the vasodilator just goes nice and slow.
If you guys have access to a 12-week, and you don't need to run it, but if you can just hook it up, I can take a look at it.
Yeah, I can do it, no big deal.
No, we can,
Yeah.
we
I
can.
teach ACLS, I can figure it out.
Well,
I have for the last, 30 some odd years.
we don't need to even run one if you don't want. I can just, if you hook him up, I can take a look, you guys can take a look, and we can see if he's having any kind of ischemia or anything.
I got no problem whatsoever.
We'll just walk him out to the ambulance and do it.
And then you can get on with the presentation.
Alright, good deal.
That was pretty much done, we were just kind of wrapping up the Q&A at the very end, so.
Okay, so you were here the whole time.
I was right there. I
Appreciate you catching it.
No
Am
problem.
I allowed to put this back on?
Yeah,
Yeah, you were, we'll sit you down, we'll.
I think you can.
Do you have any chest pains, shortness of breath, anything like that? I mean, I don't even know if he needs all that. Right.
Precautionary, might as well throw him
Just do
on.
it and just.
Mom will feel a lot better.
But you'll make mom feel better, and that's important, guys.
You did look a little pale. I just think you need to eat something.
You're 18?
To be honest with you, that's what
Right now.
kind of presents to me is, if it was
I do that.
before, I'd say, well, that'd be a good possibility, but if it's lower, but I was just thinking with him being a runner like that, his metabolism's up a little bit.
I'm thinking now even like I'm standing here.
Burns through that a lot quicker than.
And he does lock his legs, and so,
Yeah,
you know, it's in the
it's-
military, and they tell you don't lock
Yeah.
your legs for extended, for all the presentations and so on, so, he locks his legs and, pressure situation.
Well, that's a little.
You're nobody.
Well, as I said, this is not a big deal. I think the same thing with you, Wayne.
We'll put you on that real quick, we'll take a quick look and just make sure, just give everybody a peace of mind, and then, you know, if you're still feeling okay, we'll get a release from you.
Thank you.
Like I said, Mom will be happy, and
You're quite welcome. Nice to meet you.
that's our goal.
All right.
All right, make Mom happy.
Yep.
All right?
Okay.
Follow up. Mom's got your watch?
Yeah, Mom's got her watch.
All right.
Thanks, Dan.
No problem. Sure, I told you that.
What's that?
Happy National Peace Officer Day. I said, we don't celebrate you guys, just the national.
We're the Nationals. Yeah, the Nationals, we're good. Yeah, on the local. All right. Let's do it again. All right. Let's try it again.
Okay, you got it.
We'll start it all over again.
That's okay. I haven't forgotten you.
Now that the drama's over.
Yeah, now the drama's over.
At first, I did tell the mothers. Good. There you go. I was talking at once.
Yeah, he was walking.
Overstressed, and I think we just,
And that's how Amber is after her. She's
crazy.
fine.
Yeah, I just think.
Like a minute later, she's fine.
Wouldn't find that if we walked with it.
No, they do like a wall scatter when they do their silent procedures.
There's a couple things I was gonna ask him, but I'll ask him at school.
Yeah, keeps moving down.
And if anybody else has any more questions, I can talk to him at school.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I unfortunately see it more than
They'll do a roll call.
I call this village council meeting for January 9th, 2020 back to order. Bill Gilpin, could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Coogan?
Here.
Ms. Shepherd?
Here.
Ms. Hallfield?
Here.
Ms. Ross?
Here.
Thank you. And next on our agenda would be public input. Do we have anyone that would like to have any public input tonight? Going once.
Some public input.
Yes.
State your name and you got 3 minutes, please. 3 minutes.
No, hey, on behalf of the Bethel Historical Society, the museum changes are going well, that's going tremendous. And I just hope that our 3rd annual dinner, which is coming up April the 2nd at Grand Career Center, that's our biggest fundraiser that we have for operating expenses. You used to own the building, you know how that is. So, we hope that you can all come and support our dinner and our efforts. We are in process right now of starting the move of the military exhibit, which is going to be a new gallery upstairs in the big room. The ribbon cutting is going to be April the 4th. A 1969 graduate from Bethel School, William Essex, actually it's George William Essex, we call him Bill. He is going to do our ribbon cutting. He's also going to be the guest speaker at our dinner. So, do you have any questions for me?
What was the date and time again for the dinner?
The dinner is Thursday, April 2nd. It starts at 6 o'clock promptly, because we have a full agenda that night.
Tickets for sale right now?
Tickets are, they're just reservations.
Okay.
They're $40 each.
Okay.
This is our biggest fundraiser. We've raised over $20,000 the last 2 years that night, so just from ticket sales and so forth. There's nothing on sale that night, so you don't have to buy a thing. Your ticket is your donation. We appreciate the council's support, and I am so glad that we were able to have the collaboration and work with that sale on purchasing the Grant Memorial Building. I think it has been a win-win for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Sure.
Yeah, Bob Redden, newly elected trustee. I wanted to
I don't know, you may already know, but we had decided to no longer lock the gates at the graveyard. So you may be getting phone calls, but we have a lot of people that like to go and they're past the time because of work hours and this time of year. If you lock the gates at dark and you get home at dark and you need to go in, you can't. We have a lot of people that walk. So with the officers are going to know that the gates are open.
Okay, I'll let the officers know.
I know there's already been some stir, and you may have already heard it.
Yes, I have already. One of the officers called me and said, the gates are unlocked. I was like, it's okay.
So it is an expense, and we feel the money would be better spent somewhere else. We just, as a public service, and I know there's people, and I know hopefully with maybe some extra patrols that drive through.
I will let them know.
The concern is graveyard damage, and we, most of the time they will climb a fence if they're gonna do that.
Sure.
But with extra patrols through there, we'd appreciate that, and also you can let people know that it is a money saver too. So,
Well, thank you very
bring
much.
that up so you knew about it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
All right. Okay, Dr. Schultz?
Just one comment is, to follow up with our young man who spoke to us tonight, our Board of Education has it on the agenda for this coming week on Monday to address that, so on the timeline, we're trying to meet those, because he did a heck of a job.
Yes, they did.
And so,
Yes.
so we are meeting as soon as possible to try to work out all the details as well. So I want you to know that's our timeline as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Are we good? Anybody else? All right, we're going to move on to the appointment of our open council seat. And we have 3 applicants that council will need to decide which one to pick. And we have Leah Fields, Philip Reed, and Ron Dunn. And it's council's pleasure to hear them speak now. Would that be? So,
I'd like to hear from you.
who wants to go first?
Ladies first. Hi, I'm Leah Fields. I've met most of you. So, I guess, everybody got the...
Yes, yes.
So, I have lived in Bethel my entire life. My dad has lived in Bethel his entire life. His dad lived in Bethel most of his life. And I've just grown up loving this village. If you can ask anyone I know, I'm oddly overprotective if anyone says anything negative about Bethel. But also in the last couple years, I really became engaged with the community. I'm having a son of my own now, he's 6. It's just really important to me that our community grow safely, and he has things to do as he gets older, if there's events to go to. I feel like people my age and with kids, that we don't have a lot of time to devote to things like this and to come to council meetings. And so I'm trying to kind of be a voice for anyone that I know that's my age and in the same situation, but also obviously everyone else. I know I worked at Skyline for 7 years, and I made so many connections there. That's why I put it in there, which I know sounded kind of odd, but I volunteer at the schools. I'm part of the PTO. I run a Facebook page, Bethel Village United. We have run a couple porch decorating contests. I just did this huge campaign over the holidays. We showcased local businesses, and let's see what else. Well, I guess that's it. That's my pitch. So I'm really into local businesses. I go shopping local probably every weekend, which maybe I don't need to go not often. But local business is what's most important to me, because I really feel like our small villages need to be able to be independent from big box stores, and we need to depend on ourselves, because more than likely we're never going to get a Walmart or a giant Kroger, and we need to put our money into our own community, and it's really important to me. And I think that because local businesses don't get a lot of ad time, or, they're not on the TV, they're not on the radio, that it's really important that, we talk about it more. And I just really want to help the community, and that's pretty much the most important thing to me, so.
All right.
Are we allowed to ask questions?
All right.
Oh, I really want to ask questions.
I don't know, you just asked me, so.
The council have any questions for her or anything?
I'll try not to pass out.
How do you feel you can benefit us?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I feel like I kind of offer like a unique voice. I am very outspoken. I know a ton of people, and I feel like at all different walks of life in our community. I know the people that my dad graduated with in 1972, all the way down to the little first graders that my son goes to school with. Teachers, business owners, everyone. And I feel like our community lacks, and what we've been all trying to do, I think, is getting the whole community more involved in the local government. And I really think that's important. So I think just my net is pretty wide, and I think that's one of my strong suits. So I would say that's the benefit.
All right.
So I have one question, and I know everybody's seen it, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. There is at least one person in the county with an agenda to dissolve all villages. How would you fight that philosophy?
Yes, and I kind of added the little note of that on my resume about how important it is, especially at this time, that we broadcast our sense of community. So I am not afraid to post things, say things, to spread the word. I don't mind to be obnoxious and showcase all the things our community has to offer. And we did the slogan, which there was a contest that we ran for the slogan. People online voted. We are now running a campaign, an art contest, to get a logo to go along with the slogan. So I think doing things like that and just involving the community in what the council is doing, what the government is doing, will get rid of those ideas of, 20 years ago, so-and-so stole money from or whatever baggage these people are bringing to the table, and show them that things are different, things are moving, things are progressing. Everyone on the council wants better for the community. So I think spreading the word about all the benefits of our village is the most important thing to make that happen. So.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. All right. And next up, Philip.
Good evening, Philip Reed. I'm the administrative pastor for Faith Chapel Ministries and the manager at Faith Chapel Fitness. I threw my name in. I've been involved with the Communications Council since it started, and I just really felt like this would be a good next step to be a voice to promote our village, to take it to the next level. When I think of Bethel, I just often think of potential. And my wife Felicia and I have 5 children, and much like Leah, my goal isn't that we benefit ourselves, but for my kids, that the next generation has a hometown to come home to. With Amelia just dissolving, I think it's more important than ever to have unity and vision for our community to prosper and grow. So that's just really all I have. As far as the benefits that I could bring to the table, just as the young man was making his presentation for the fireworks, I'm deeply involved with the churches in the area, and we have a strong BMA, and that's an organization that he didn't even mention to get support from for that. But I think having a voice on council to come from the religious side of our community would be very important and beneficial.
All right.
We covered my question kind of in there, so you planned ahead.
Everybody good? All right, well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Dunn?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ron Dunn. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. I have been an elected official in the village before. Served on council in the mid-'80s. Had to leave because of business requirements that pulled me away from the village too much. I've been an appointed official. I served as zoning administrator here for many years, as well as in Moscow. Worked there for a few years, helped them out. Most of you may know I'm a teacher at Grand Career Center. It's my 19th year there. I am a former business owner in the village. Have done work, I still do work on my own, but I believe as basically a lifelong village resident, I can bring a lot to the plate, a lot to the table. A very middle-of-the-road, reasonable approach to things. I'm not a knee-jerk reaction kind of person. Working in high school, really can't do that. You can't, it backfires on you. Yeah, so I believe I come with basically one agenda in mind, to do what's best for the village and its residents, to do whatever we can to preserve our village, to grow it. In the early 80s, I was actually part of an economic development team that looked at ways of improving the economic situation here in the village. There's just so much opportunity that we have as a small village to grow and to prosper and to be an example. And I think that as a council member, that would be probably my priority, just growth.
All right.
Any questions?
Questions? Council? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time here,
So, council could vote now. Council also has the ability, if you'd like to discuss it, they can discuss it. You can discuss it openly, you can discuss it in executive session. If you choose to go into executive session, it's under section 121.22G1 of the Ohio Revised Code to discuss the appointment of a public official.
so what's your pleasure, council?
I would like to go to executive session.
I would too. I think that's,
So can I make a
So we
motion
can make a motion
to go into executive session pursuant to
121.22
121.22
G1
G1
of the Ohio Revised
of the
Code
Ohio Revised Code
to discuss the appointment of a public
to
official.
discuss the appointment of a public official.
I will second that.
All right, so Ms. Ross first, Ms. Hollfield second, Mr. Gilpin?
Okay, just a moment here. Okay. Ms. Brown?
yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're in executive session, but everyone can come back in, just take a few
Or
minutes.
do we want to walk across
Or
and
we
let
can
them
walk
stay?
across or whatever.
Sure, you want to?
You want to let them stay seated?
Yeah.
Stay seated, they can go across.
We'll go across.
We'll go across.
Yeah, that way you guys don't have to stay.
They kick him out again. Kick him out again. Yeah, that's right. Don't look out of place, huh? Musical chairs. Stay over. You can't take any notes. Can't take any notes in there. Yes, ma'am. It's your call. Yeah.
This is 5:30.
I guess the thing that I want to know is how we want us to this point. And they didn't want it. They didn't want procedure that we don't get.
Right. So Key Bank did theirs all the time. And here's my thing with alarm drops. If I follow the correct procedure, that means anybody that walks out of your bank gets a rifle stuffed in their face. Because your alarm's going off and it's a panic alarm, and the standard response is basically anybody that walks out of that bank gets detained until you guys come out and let me know that it's a
Well, according to that procedure, though, if it's a false alarm.
comm center should be called.
One of us is supposed to go out there with the whole,
Right.
which is what time.
Yeah, the gentleman who came around when I first got there, he actually had it in his hands whenever I came up to the door, so that's why I walked in. I was like, well, he's got it in his hands, that's, you know.
but if it was a real situation, but it's under control, you just put it in the yes, there has been a robbery. Then we have procedures with.
I'm sure you guys got a bazillion of them.
Anything on the counter.
Right, you get fingerprints and all that kinds of stuff. Now, do you guys do, you probably don't do GPS trackers or anything like that, do you do die bags, do you do anything like that? See, certain banks have certain procedures that they do stuff. So Key Bank, the last time they were robbed, they actually have a stack of money that they know all the serial numbers and all that. So then if someone in theory gets, right, and then if we arrest someone, we investigate it later on, we can say, okay, these bills were marked, we know these came from, therefore, you're on the hook for it all, you know? So, I
know when I said I was from the I was there 14 years.
banks only banks. See, we don't respond, we have a different response for like BP alarm or something like that. Most of the time what we do is we pull in, I'll tell you how we do it. We pull in, we look from the outside and go, looks like they're doing business in there, and then we walk in. So that's traditionally how we do it. Rifle or whatever, right? And you're like, right.
I just apologize.
No big deal. It happens. So our normal response is we arrive at wherever the alarm's going off and we check from the perimeter as to see what's going on. Because 99.999, of course, it's complacency, you know, you don't want to get, complacent with it. But very, very rarely is an alarm actually an alarm. And if you can see the teller at the window, conversing with people and handing money and taking, scanning things, and you pretty much know it's a false alarm. Speedway was very bad about that because they had it right, instead of under the counter, they had it on the edge of the counter. So every time the girl would lean forward to hand money, she was hitting it. We'd go up there a couple of times a week. We'd be like, your alarm's going off again. Oh, I didn't even know I hit it. But that procedure is banks only, banks and financial institutions.
It's also in our bank office. Did I ever share? But it was in the Key Bank. It was before the fact.
Right.
It's just that. And it shows all business in town. There was a gang of bank robbers. They had Portsmouth and
Right.
business in my word. They were going to come into and the money in the town
Was in there.
that building,
Right.
in one institution or the other.
Right.
And it's in summertime, and all women in long coats, with that overarm.
Right.
And they actually had a big bank.
Right.
And it was never, gone through.
Right.
20 years.
Well, I've been here, I've been here 17 years now. And Key Bank's been robbed twice in my time. You're right. Okay.
That's why I told Cheryl, because it was a year after I left, they had.
The first one, right.
And you know what, she was kind of small.
I'm sure I never recognize the face.
She was a young girl. She got called.
What do we do? Why are you calling me? Call 911. Call 911. Yeah, one of them I was on duty. Yeah, and this way, which is the way I came in, but there was no one there. So looking back on it, they called their security system first, and they dialed 911, and then they dispatched me, because I was in the office. I literally came out, they said he went south, no one out here at all, and went into the bank, and no one's in there, the teller's there. So, we ended up catching him. I don't know on the first one if they ever caught him, but the second one, we ended up catching him. Yeah, it was just a matter of time.
Well, see, now that I'm retired,
When you officially, are you officially done now?
I'm just on a consultant basis, Tuesdays and Thursdays, just trying to help me.
Right. Because I know that with the beginning of the year, they're going to start talking dog park again. I know they talked about it the other day. So they're probably going to come back around and officially. The dog park, you talk about that land up there. Travis is supposed to reach out to, I don't know the tip of my tongue right now. Jana, reach out to her, supposed to reach out to her in the next couple of weeks to talk to her. He's supposed to have a report back to, Parks and Village Property Council. Well, I think it'd be a great place because there's no homes right there. Well, we had the same one. There's a couple apartments right here, right across the street from you guys, between the two of us. And they come down out of the apartments, and it's these young kids, and they're on this side over here, and they're letting the dog poop. And they're like, well, where are we supposed to let the dog go to the bathroom? I said, you can let him go to the bathroom, maybe you just gotta clean it up. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I don't.
It's funny because I tried
the dog around there, so it's kind of hard,
the other day, and she said, somebody is actually they bag a dog right behind her the other day. I guess it was right where she walks in.
That was like a resident, or that was someone she's thinking from your guys' organization who they pooped on?
No, she thinks it was from somebody, because she has been telling them for a year.
Do you guys have dogs, like dog park kind of? I almost wonder if that, I know, but
Well, here's they were putting, we asked some of them to pick it up.
Right, it's the same dog, yeah. It's the same
in the back, still like this, and he comes in, parks, just all around, he does his thing, he gets back in his car, he's like, okay, so.
Let us know if that continues to happen, because there's an ordinance that you have to clean up after your animal.
Well, we kind of talked there.
Right.
So we asked them to take it out. Well, all of a sudden, our garbage can, we just had it.
Right.
Well, that was summer.
Right, sometimes it stinks.
It wasn't in a day.
Oh, he was just picking it up and throwing it in there. Right. Put it in one of those bags that fold in on itself or whatever, right?
It was pretty disgusting. So we had a small garbage can, just had it. My golly, we started picking up the dumpster. So then we took the dumpster, we put it in our elevator. We're gonna take it in
The elevator. Right.
Then they started putting it on the steps.
Nice, Lena.
So then Melinda was telling me the other day, she's like, they actually put it outside the door right where I put it, and she said, hits ground.
Right, yeah.
Not a good situation. She was so mad.
Right, and scrapes it all into the ground.
But she said that she's
So we were always at work.
Right.
And so we just started that. And so, yeah,
I guess that many people parking from the homes next door, do you know them?
I mean, we did have a
They're pretty decent about that.
Yeah, the biggest thing was.
There's a house at the end of that alley, and they like parking up there all the time.
Well, and that's, what we need is our.
Right, your little 34 spots or whatever you got.
Right into.
And just stop in the driveway.
Stop in the middle, and I told him, couldn't get around, there were people sitting in the van, I didn't see them first, I wasn't a driver, so I called the horn, said they would come and move, and I had my hands deep.
Right, roadway.
And, nobody came out, and then I had to say, wait, so, I moved around, to the grass there by the fire escape, and I mean, I was.
Right, scraping, it was scraping.
But I got by, and went in, I had to check
They're generally pretty decent because they don't like people parking. We've been there a couple of times for people parking in their spots in the back on the alley.
Well, and to be honest, we didn't have any Saturday, some of our people were
parking there, right, right.
even though it's hard to find stuff from the dog groomer, she can't control
I got a idea. I'm brainstorming here. You're opening your military museum wing gallery or whatever. Have you reached out to the Tri-State Warbird Museum and see about doing a flyover or something?
No, the what?
Tri-State Warbird Museum over in Batavia?
I've never heard of it.
You're kidding me.
I know, I'm serious. What is the, spell that for me?
Tri-State.
Yeah, I got that part.
Warbird
Warbird. Oh,
Museums.
I thought you were saying warbird.
No, warbirds.
I've heard of warbirds, yes.
So, you may reach out to them and see if maybe as conjunction of your ribbon cutting, maybe they can do like a flyover or something. It's ex-military planes. They have like a P-51 Mustang, they got a B-25 bomber, they've got all kinds of stuff, but you might want to reach out to them. I can try. I don't remember the president's name, but I will try to use emails and see what I can get for you. That'd be kind of neat.
Longest meeting ever.
Throwing it at me.
I tried to manage it. Teresa's got a peek.
Do you see the drink she drank? She needs that. That's okay.
Isn't that cool? They got that, one of the teachers got that.
Back from executive session, Mr. Gilpin, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Coogan.
Here.
Ms. Shepherd.
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield.
Here.
Ms. Ross.
Here.
All right, thank you. So now that we're back from executive session, what's council's pleasure for their pick for the vacant seat? I'm looking for a recommendation.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Ron Dunn to the vacant council seat. I will second that motion.
Okay, so Ms. Shepherd the first and Ms. Hallfield the second. Call the roll, Mr. Gilpin.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Coogan.
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd.
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield.
Yes.
Ms. Ross.
Yes.
All right, so Mr. Ron Dunn, are you ready to take your seat? I'm going to do your oath for you right now and
Thank you,
we'll
Liam,
put you in.
for Thank you very much.
Yes, that was like worse than the tax decision in there, let me tell you.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Ron Dunn,
I, Ron Dunn,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the state of Ohio,
of the state of Ohio,
and the ordinances and resolutions
and the ordinances and
of
resolutions
the village of Bethel,
of the village of Bethel,
and that I will,
and that I will,
in all respects,
in all respect,
faithfully perform the duties
faithfully perform the duties
of the office of council member
of the office of council
to
member
the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God. I have to sit down.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you go, sir.
All right. Paperwork and everything.
I just want to let everybody know that you all did really good. Every one of you are an outstanding candidate.
That was tough.
And also remember, we still have, you still got your seats on the communication commissions, and we've got some other seats that we're going to be discussing to assign next month for, I believe, the Burke Trust and some other ideas. So, you know, if there's some interest in there, then, you know, or anyone else in the audience that's interested in those, you know, get a hold of us, and we'll start talking about those as well. So that takes care of the open seat. The next order of business is we need to select the president pro tem for this year. So I'm looking for a recommendation from council for who they would like to select for pro tem this year.
I would like to nominate Lucy Shepherd as pro tem, if Lucy's okay with it.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to recommend Lucy Shepherd.
All right, and then
Okay.
a second for that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Hunt.
Ask if there's any other nominations.
Is there any other nominations that anyone would like to put out there? All right, so, Mr. Gilpin, can you call a roll for nomination for Lucy Shepherd to be president pro tem, please?
Just want to tell you if this shows up on the screen, this is going to look strange because Mr. Dunn's name is not on the list and there's no way I can't select a name. You know what I mean? So we'll have to edit this. I'm going to, since you sit next to me, I'm going to put your name here and I'm taking notes, okay? Okay. Okay. Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations
council members.
again.
Thank you.
Ms. Shepherd. All right, so now we are at administration and committee reports finally. All right. Mayor's Court report for the month of December 2019. We had a revenue of $5,764 with $4,380 going to the village, $1,334.50 to the state, and $49.50 to the county. And now, I'll take some more time. I got my State of the Village address for everyone, and I did time it. It takes about 9 minutes, so hold tight. So, all right, so here we go. State of the Village, January 9th, 2020. The state of our village is strong. Residents, council, township neighbors, the following is our strength: the Bethel Lions Club, American Legion, Empower Youth, Shepherd's Place, Faith Chapel Ministries, the Living Word Church, Community Christian Church, Bethel Church of the Nazarene, Bethel Baptist Church, St. Mary's Church, Moorside Baptist Church, Bethel Assembly of God, J&S Ministries, all the local businesses and nonprofit organizations, Bethel Tate Schools, Grant Vocational, the BBA, Burke Trust, Bethel Diamond Sports, the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, this Bethel Council, this Bethel Police Department, this Bethel administration, street and utilities, the Tate Township trustees, the Bethel Tate Fire Department, the Tate Township Maintenance Department, the Midway Theater, and the Bethel Historical Society and Museum. This is our strength. This is what makes us strong. Talent, skills, passion, history, and their expertise can be seen in each and every one of these names read. Add some aggressive goal setting, dedication, motivation. We'll challenge ourselves to be the best. Some are already leading the way to excellence. Cincy Magazine, Best of the East 2019, recognizes nominees in our community that include Santarelli Dance Center, Samantha Campus at Serendipity Salon, Baked Custom Confections, Bethel Historical Society and Museum. Congratulations to you. You are a beacon of light for others to follow. 2019 has also seen great accomplishments as well. Extension of the walking path to Save-A-Lot, Toys for Tots donations, car shows, homecoming, the Down Home Christmas parades, food drives, community events in the park, community grant award, scholarship awards, playground upgrades, exercise equipment on the walking path, picnic tables for the park, township and village partnerships strengthened, grant memorial building sale, veteran banner solutions, research solar options, urban farming, golf carts, slogan tagline for village, small town, big heart. Officer Colopy, accommodation from the Sheriff's Department. Successful financial audit by the state. Burkfest concerts, town hall meetings, new leaf removal for residents, dog park research, new village webpage, large cost savings from water main leak repairs, grant work to secure funding for 2020 projects. New small businesses born, community relations commissions created, Bethel Tate first free store. We cannot forget the rest of 3 goats and the heroic rescue of a kitten. To sum it up, more people are connecting, working together, working hard, and being able to enjoy each other's company, smiling and having a few laughs. Teamwork is strong. Our 2020 vision continues efforts towards the Frank Manning Memorial Park, envisioned by our prior Mayor Alan Osmond. Continued research of expansion of the community center and relocation of the police department. Begin discussions of parting with or utilizing old waterworks plant, possibly to help the township have their own park. Property search for a dog park. Construction projects anticipated, ODOT, repaving and restriping, sidewalk and crosswalk install from the middle school to Grant Vocational, the Union Street Bridge replacement, storm water repair on North Charity and Northeast Street, utility line relocation project, second phase of playground equipment installed. According to the news article, a new pizza place will open in June. New ownership of and opening of the Dairy Bar, Burkfest concert series, ministry youth groups in the park, among with many, many other events and business development. Our village has another extremely strong year planned of success for 2020. While we are striving to be the best, it is imperative that we stop and we listen and we pay attention to social media and the newspapers. They are a great source of information. This information tells us how educated people are. It tells us how people feel. It tells us how we are appreciated. It tells us who our neighbors are. It gives us a chance. It gives us a gift. It gives us a gift of knowledge and a gift of time to solve these issues before it's too late. Social media is a free, valuable source. How you use it is what you get in return. Use it negatively, it will be divisive. It will be troubling to the softest of hearts, rude and downright nasty at times. use it positively, it will bring happiness and laughter, create memories, bring people together, keep people connected, create opportunities, be helpful to new business and organizations, be an educational tool, be an icebreaker to solve problems, bring understanding and community togetherness. In closing, even though our village is strong and vibrant, we are facing an incoming storm of people who feel our village is not worthy of staying in existence. Here soon, real soon, as we get closer to summer, petitions have been promised by these people to begin circulating around for your signature. And only your signature will put a measure on the November 2020 presidential ballot to dissolve this village. No matter how you feel for or against this action, the bottom line is that the majority of registered voters will decide the fate of our small town, Big Heart. I urge each and every one of you to search for your peace. I pray for this village. Be active in what you believe in, and know that the strongest will of the people will prevail. I will lead this village to the best of my ability to ensure whatever happens is for the better of the people and not a life-changing burden to anyone. This State of the Village address may possibly be the last report to ever be read for this village. I look to God for His wisdom and His blessing to watch over and be with the people of this village and give the people the strength and the self-motivation to seek out verifiable facts before making permanent decisions. Thank you. God bless this village. Mayor J. Noble.
Don't faint on us. Take that jacket off.
Breathe.
Thank you very
We
much.
only have one.
Now, the next order of business is Administration Committee reports for Mr. Dodson. Take over, sir.
Just to follow up on that, I did receive contact just this week from the gentleman who is putting in the Papa John's pizza there at the Smythe location, so he has started the process of getting permits, and he's working with the county to move forward with that, so. And then also on items that you touched on there, the advertisement for the bids for the Northeast Street Stormwater Project went out today, actually. The bids will be opened on the 30th. This will be a summer 2020 project for the stormwater repairs on Northeast, and that is being funded by the last year's cycle of the OPWC grant. We're still planning to do advertisement for the bids for the North Charity Street roadway repair. Those will probably go out around April or May for a early July bid opening, and that'll be hopefully also a late summer project for this year, and that's funded from this year's round of OPWC grants. South Union Street Bridge project is being engineered by Choice One Engineering. That will be a 2020 summer project, and that's being funded by the 2017 round of CDBG grants. South Ash Street Bridge project just about ready for application. That is due by the end of the month. That's for the next round of CDBG funding. The third reading for the legislation to authorize for that is this evening. Let's see, I do have the estimated cost of that bridge replacement at $298,000. That is, it does have a bit of padding. CDBG requires that the preliminary estimates be good for at least 2 years out in the future, so they have to pad for that. So we are going to do a 15% match for that, which is $44,000. And as I say, that third reading for that legislation is tonight. Playground equipment, I talked to the installers today. They're hoping to get that rolling within the next 2-3 weeks. So we'll start seeing that assembly happening at the park. And then, of course, the ODOT restriping project is still on for this summer. And I believe that's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. And next up would be our fiscal officer, Mr. Gilpin.
Not a lot to report tonight, except just really, really busy, trying to wrap up 2019. We are up and running for 2020, able to do payroll, able to pay bills, have till the end of February to upload the annual financial report. I will have it done later this month. I'm not too far from it now, just waiting to hear some feedback from the folks at the State Auditor's Office. As you recall, we were asked to include the Mayor's Court and the Burke Trust financials on the statement, and I don't get the fourth quarter statements on the trust until the 15th or 20th of the month. So once I get that, I'm going to meet with the auditors and make sure we're in agreement on how to present that on our annual financial report, and then I'll upload it after that. That's all I've got for this evening.
All right, thank you. And our solicitor, Ms. Supinger.
Yeah, a couple of items. First, just an update on the status of the municipal income tax litigation that is currently in the Ohio Supreme Court. The Village of Bethel is a party to that, along with about 60 other municipal corporations. That issue has been fully briefed, and it is being scheduled for oral argument in the Ohio Supreme Court. That should probably happen around March. So hopefully a decision from the Ohio Supreme Court on that case this year. Other items on the village, the utility relocation project on Plain Street. We are meeting with the engineers at the end of this month to try and take a look at where we are and the next steps to hopefully get the rest of the remaining easements that we need so that that project can move forward. It's been a lot of work, and my associate, Michelle Reed, has done a really fantastic job of keeping it organized and trying to keep everybody happy with that project.
She's done a great job.
Yeah. So that's all I have for tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any projected date for the move of the poles?
No, I mean,
Are we going to be using them next Christmas to put our Christmas lights on?
Probably.
Okay. All right.
It's a big project.
I'll put that next year's State of the Union. All right.
Yep,
good?
that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next up is our Chief of Police, Sergeant, or Chief of Team, sorry.
It's okay. Take a while to get over that. For the month of December, we drove 3,200 miles. We made 95 traffic stops. Notable out of those, 30 were citations for speed, 5 were in the school zones. We issued 41 warnings. We answered 227 calls for service for the month of December, and that resulted in 32 offense reports, 24 incident reports. Jump down to the bottom, we assisted other agencies 66 times, 57 of those were EMS runs, and 1 was a fire run. I've attached the 2019 kind of a year in review for councils, and I'd like to go over that real quick, if you might mind bringing that up, Travis.
I don't have the ability to.
If you have it on your tablets. Just real quick, this is a 2019 synopsis of what our agency did. We had 12 OVIs for the year. We had 9 sex crimes, 29 domestic violences. We had 7 deaths inside the village, 56 disorders, 11 assaults, 6 burglaries, 12 unauthorized use, 66 miscellaneous drugs, 76 thefts. For our mayor's court, we brought in around $88,000. The year before was $84,000. The year before that was $107,000. The trend is down over a 3-year period, but it is going up over the 2-year period. For collections through the Ohio Attorney General's office, we did $6,000 in 2017, $5,000 in 18, and $6,000 in 19. Our citations were slightly up from last year. Last year we did 720. We did 764 last year overall. The high was the year before that on 2017 at 970. That is expected to go up. Our reports, We did in 2017, we did 604, 2018, we did 486, then we jumped back up in 2019 to 615. It's the highest out of the 3 years. That is an average of 51 reports per month, so about 2 reports per day our officers are taking. So quite busy for a small village. And crashes, I can gladly report our crashes are going down. Our 2017 numbers, we had 114 crashes inside the village limits. 2018, we had 105. 2019, we had 90. That's about 10% reduction each year. I expect that hopefully with the ODOT restriping that's been mentioned a couple of times, that will address that and even go down even further. As you know, as council knows, we've reviewed this quite a few times in safety. ODOT, the reason why we're getting the funding from ODOT is because the amount of crashes that are concentrated on West Plain Street, aka 125 in front of the restaurant district. That restriping is supposedly and hopefully going to take care of a lot of those crash issues, making everything better, and hopefully I can report next year that those crashes have significantly gone down. If I believe, right, Mr. Dotson, that is slated to begin anytime, and the completion date is December 31st of 2020. So that should be completed anytime at all. The next 2 slides are just a little bit I wanted to talk about vehicles and maintenance. We drove in 2017 47,000 miles. In 2018 we did 36,000, which is about 10,000 less, and last year we went up again to 45,000, about 10,000 more. But if you go to the last slide, you can see our cost per vehicle maintenance has gone down. There is a little bump in 2018 of $2,100 that came in a water pump on a 2013 Explorer. If that was out, you would see a nice slide going down. About 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, we added the 5th cruiser, which gives each full-time person their own vehicle. We don't share vehicles. We don't run any vehicles 24 hours a day. I know it looks like sometimes that we've got more vehicles than what we need, but our data shows we're driving more miles and costing the village less by having more vehicles. Our maintenance cost is actually trending down. So, and that is the last I had of the 2019 reports. A couple of things I'd like to mention. The 2020 Silverado that we are purchasing in 2019 is still not in yet. I've not heard from the dealership. We will not be purchasing a new vehicle this year. We plan on doing some capital improvement with that money this year. We have some quite large expenses, new data master machine that's about $10,000, and a fingerprint machine that we are required by the Ohio Revised Code that's also going to be about $10,000. So we will forego any new vehicles this year. Start of 2020 has been an extremely busy year for us so far. In the first 3 days, we had a rape/sexual assault, we had an OVI, we had a physical domestic, and we had a serious car accident, and that was all within the first 3 days of the year. So our police department is quite busy already. Mayor also got a hold of me earlier about Coyote. I would like to speak to that real quick. Inside the village of Bethel, you cannot discharge any firearm, any bow and arrow, anything like that, with the exception of to protect your life or an animal's life, like if you're walking your dog. I've talked to the game warden, I talked to them today. There is no season on coyotes, which basically means you're allowed to hunt coyotes any time of the year. However, you cannot do that inside the village. So it is legal outside the village limits in Tate Township, that if you have a coyote and you wish to hunt them and you wish to take them, there is no restriction, there is no reporting, there's no tagging, there's no anything. They are basically considered a nuisance, and you can do that at any time. If the village chooses to do that, we would have to amend our ORC that forbids that, and that would have to be up to council's pleasure. I personally would say no to any hunting inside village limits. But that would be just my recommendation. It would be up to council to suspend that ordinance.
Discharging the firearm against the coyote if there is danger is still...
Yes, so if you have your CCW, or even if you're doing an open carry and you're walking down the street, we had one of our firefighters the other day was walking his dog up on the northeast end of town, and a coyote actually came at him, trying to get the dog while he was walking him on the leash. He got a hold of me and asked, if this coyote is attacking my dog or me, can I discharge my firearm? It is illegal inside the village of Bethel to discharge a firearm except in the protection of your life or of your animal's life.
Gotcha.
So that would technically be legal then.
Just wanted to reiterate.
But you cannot, yes, you cannot go hunting them inside the village at this time. And I think that was the last thing I wanted to talk about today.
All right, thank you, very good, very good, thank you. And next up would be our Safety Committee Chair, Ms. Hollifield.
Safety has not met since November 12th, so I have nothing to report for December, and we are going to have a meeting as needed. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And Finance Committee, Ms. Shepherd.
We met January the 7th of 2020 in the council chambers. Mr. Gopin spoke extensively to our revenue and appropriations. The revenues were pretty much on what Mr. Gopin had projected they would be. Appropriations, it appears that we have some money left, but Mr. Gopin says it's due to bills that have not come in yet, so if anybody's looking at those figures and those numbers, we don't have a bunch of money left over. It's going to be spent as soon as those invoices arrive. The water fund did end with a slight increase, and we still think that's due to finding the water leaks. There was a rather large water leak, so that fund ended on a plus. Mr. Gopin does transfer a certain portion of that money to our water and infrastructure replacement fund, so those are needed funds. The electric was a little bit down, and that's varying due to fluctuations in the pricing that we have. And we're thinking that's going to come back into line.
Yeah, over the next
Shortly.
5 years, we'll be seeing,
Okay.
yeah, it'll trend
Okay, so
that way.
it ended up less than what it did. There was no gain in that. Our next meeting will be February the 5th at 5:30 in council chambers.
All right, thank you. And Parks and Village Properties, Mr. Coogan.
Parks and Properties met on 7 January 2020. We were short one member. He got appointed to mayorship. Anyways, we spoke on the fact that we were having a summer concert series, and I had to change a date to accommodate Mr. Frondorf and assist him in making his project work out as best I can for the community. We're looking at getting the American Legion to assist, and I went that same evening, to the American Legion with the mayor, and we stated our case and stated Mr. Frondorf's case to the Legion, and we're getting full support from them on the food and beverage aspect of the concert on the 16th of May. Additionally, they may offer some funds for Mr. Frondorf's fireworks. On top of that, we discussed the location of where the Legion wanted to be located. They wanted to go under the shelter this year. I don't know if Mr. Dotson can accommodate that.
Yeah, I think we can. I think we can work for that.
Yeah, okay. And we were doing this for the reason of rain and whatever. We also discussed the parameters for the signage of where the beer is going to be located, and what the signage is supposed to indicate. And I reemphasized that evening at the meeting with the American Legion. And on top of that, we discussed the bands. They're going to have two bands. They're going to be from 12 to 8. The first band will run 12 to 4, and then the other will be 4 to 8, and then fireworks immediately thereafter. Right now, I have a verbal commitment from Furious George, which is a rock band. They'll be playing the 4 to 8 gig, and the The other band is still up in the air, so as soon as I find out, I'll let everybody know about that. Let's see, program on promoting the program, so we'll be up to Samuel, which is pretty much what he's indicated, along with Jennifer Doherty, who's been very helpful in the past with getting these things together with me. Anyways, the first program, I'm looking for funding through Burke Park, if at all possible, some funding, approximately $5,000. I'm going to request through council this evening, if at all possible, full funding, and then replacement as I get sponsorship for this, to go back into the village coffers via Bill Gilpin. Anyways, on top of this, we discussed the second phase of the playground equipment, which Mr. Dotson discussed, and the bid for the addition. And we're still pretty much stagnant on that. Next month, we will be discussing the dog park issue. We have some property we've identified that we're trying to get some information on right now, and we'll take it from that point. We decided our next meeting is going to be on the 5th of February at 6:30.
Do we need to discuss or talk about your funding that you mentioned now, or we wait?
We can discuss it now.
So,
Can I ask him a question about the
Yeah.
May 16th real quick?
open.
Since it's kind of in conjunction with the National Honor Society and the school, are they planning on serving beer at the May 16th event?
Yeah. Yes, they are.
And the National Honor Society they were okay with all that?
Yeah, I discussed this with Mr. Fondorf
Okay.
already. He's fine.
I mean, who's his connection with the school? Is this kind of going through, I mean, he's the president of the National Honor Society, right?
Right.
So I'm sure does he have someone that
There's
he
a
liaison?
coordinator,
He has
yeah,
to-
they have a
coordinator, he
teacher
has to
coordinator.
get things approved through?
He may. I'm not sure since it's off-site, like if it would be an issue. I just didn't know if partnered with the school and alcohol being an issue. I just didn't know
I mean, the
how they...
way,
Yeah, their main function is going to be the fireworks function.
Right.
And,
Okay.
you know,
well, I think basically how, the VBA meeting was actually a very good meeting that we had, earlier in the week, or month, or whatever it was, I can't remember, Monday. But his main, his main thoughts were, he wants to get the fireworks going. So, I mean, his function wouldn't start till 9 o'clock.
Gotcha.
So he was just gonna have like try to get someone to do a barbecue or do this in the park just to attract people to have them there for the fireworks. So I think with this being led into it, if Mr. Coogan can make it happen to where everything is dispersed, the Legion is out of there by 8:30, you guys can shift your attention over to, traffic or whatever, or maybe even 8 o'clock, I'm not sure.
8 o'clock is what we
But
decided.
there's gonna be like a hour gap between the fireworks that he's doing and this, what Mr. Coogan's doing, so it's kind of not really
So separate
intertwined.
events.
It's just kind of like
We're just
a bunch of
having the same-
functions happening in the same day,
Yes.
kind of feel. That's kind of what I envisioned it to be from what they spoke of.
Gotcha.
But it might not hurt to talk to someone at the school or whatever, just to make sure everything's kosher. But
I think Dr. Sherrill said when he was up
Yeah,
there,
he was
they're
gonna
having
go
meeting.
On Monday. On Monday.
On Monday.
Yes.
But if it's a separate thing, like I understand what you're saying now, they are two separate events, they're just kind of happening in coordination with each other, then, okay.
Right.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So I guess we need council to make a motion to request funds from the Burke Trust.
I make a motion that council requests funding from the Burke Trust for Party in the Park.
Burke Fest.
Burke
For how
Fest.
much?
Is what's trending.
5,000.
5,000?
5,000.
I'll second that.
All right, so we have Ms. Shepherd as the first and Ms. Brown for the second. Mr. Gopin, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
I'll abstain, being the new guy. Till I get more.
All right, thank
Don't
you.
blame you.
So that settles what you needed. Is there anything else additional that we?
Is this where we can discuss it, since we've already
Yeah,
said the yes? Okay.
Yeah, for the other events, the other two events I have planned, I'm gonna need the amount of approximately 10,000, which will be somewhat replenished through sponsorship. I've already gotten 2 verbals on sponsorship, one in the amount of approximately 500, and the other one with the cost of about 2 bands, which comes out to about $1,200.
So you got about 1,700 secured so far?
Yeah, so far.
Okay, so do you have a timeline of how much you need, when you need it?
Well,
I mean, right now, you're trying to get everything booked and set for this first one to coincide with the National Honor
Right.
Society to kind of get that ball rolling, but then eventually you're gonna have to, they're gonna be piggybacked on each other month to month to month, so.
Right, I'm gonna have to secure 4 more bands for the other 2 events, as quick as I can, actually, because bands have a tendency of rolling into other gigs as soon as they can get them, so.
All right, anyone else have any questions for?
Yes. Is this going to be ongoing, that we're going to continue to request money from Burke Trust for an event that is happening in the park, but does it fall under the purview of what Burke, so this would be on Burke Trust if they want to approve it or not, but it does not fall under the purview of the 3 areas? Okay.
What's happening here is this, Samuel is trying to make this an annual event.
Right, I'm not talking about Samuel, I'm talking about, I know that this had happened prior to Mr. Frondorf asking for funds. This was something that has been talked about in the last few months, asking Burke Trust to start to pay for the park, the concerts in the park.
Well, this, that park is part of the community.
I understand,
Yeah,
I
and
understand.
this is part of community involvement. And this, I feel, money could be utilized towards community involvement and making this a cohesive community.
I think what she's asking, is this
Yeah.
going to be seed money to get this?
Not necessarily, no. As I gain sponsorship.
Yes.
And this program grows, I don't foresee a need for this.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was discussing with Mr. Coogan, and I didn't really get to talk to Mr. Frondorf about it, but his basic fireworks show would be $3,000 minimum. Anything above and beyond that would extend the show, make it longer. However, if he did not extend the show and save that money to do the next year's, then, maybe he can, do some kind of fundraising over at the park during that day and some other stuff to maybe, all that money up front, kind of the same way with what I think Mr. Coogan is talking, is just to get the ball rolling, and then once it should fund itself, hopefully, and if it does fund itself, then maybe if it funds a little bit more, then maybe that can be given back to the trust.
I just think that we need to be very specific with what we're requesting from Burke.
Right.
Is it for the concerts in the park, or is it for Mr. Frondorf? Because we've already established they're two separate
things.
So
Right.
what are we requesting from Burke Trust? Are we requesting for the concert in the park, or are we requesting for money to go towards Mr. Frondorf?
That 5,000 was for the concert in the park.
Okay.
But I think we need to follow back to,
Mr.
we
Frondorf.
were interrupted there, and we need
Yes,
to make
yes.
we need to do that if we're going to ask for money for his event.
Does it have to be a certain amount? So I personally would like to see what he raises and maybe match that if it's a decent amount.
He needs the money by
He said
end of March.
so I think we have time to.
He has
That's what I'm
2,000
saying.
already.
Can we make a motion to Burke Trust to discuss it with the commission about matching funds, maybe even up to a certain point, depending on what he raises. And then, I mean, I'm gonna talk next about Burke Trust, but I think for his project for that day, it personally is what I would like to do.
How about if we ask him to follow up at the February meeting and then we make a request following that? Maybe by then we can decide how much to ask.
Yeah, 'cause I would like to, yeah, I'll talk about Burke Trust in a minute, but yes.
And that would give us enough time from February to March to make sure that if Mr. Frondorf needs
we
that
can go
money
ahead
and Burke approves it, that it would be okay.
We'll go ahead and try to have the meeting established for the latter part of February so that they'll already be ready to meet.
Okay.
Do we want to make it maybe more towards the middle in case they say we want more
Yeah, we'll go over
information?
that in a minute, but yeah.
Okay, all right, so,
So there's two separate requests to Burke. So there's 5,000 that we are discussing right now is for the Concert in the Park series.
Right,
Okay.
right. And that's already been approved, right?
That's been requested,
It's
yeah.
been requested.
Requested.
Requested,
Okay.
excuse me.
So do we need another, no, I guess we need,
I think that
Just
we're gonna
one.
wait until February, and then we can make the motion to make the
Perfect.
request with more information.
okay, so we're done with Mr. Coogan then, right?
Correct.
All right. You got anything else, Mr. Coogan?
Do we still have to vote on the other portion of the 10,000 that may be needed?
If I may, I think if I understood what he was, what you were intending to say was that we need to make sure it's in the appropriations. So,
No, he wants an additional $10,000.
but you want that from the village's coffers, not Burke Trust, correct?
Correct.
So that's why I was saying appropriations.
Yeah, so I can utilize this towards the other two concerts, and as I gain sponsorship, I can replenish the coffers per se.
So I can't say off the top of my head whether there's enough in the temporary appropriations for that, but I've written a note so we can, as we get ready to do the permanent appropriations, finance can take care of it. It would have to go through finance to be recommended to council to be included in the permanent appropriations.
so basically you're looking for 5,000 for each concert?
Approximately, yes.
Approximately, okay. Even though there are two requests, but you're, okay.
All right, so that will basically get referred to finance.
To finance,
For
correct.
us to, or for them to discuss. And then we'll move it back to council, I guess, next meeting.
It'll be in the appropriations.
I'll be in the appropriations if it's a recommended.
Right.
Okay. All right, so that, you understand how, okay,
Yeah.
everything's good now? All right.
Yeah, for the time being.
All right. It's a long meeting. All right.
Yeah, send out for dinner.
So now we are up to Burke Trust, Ms. Ross.
Okay, so I'm gonna do old business first. Mr. Gilpin provided me with an email that we received, from our, I think she was our
2019.
one of our 2019 scholarship recipients, so I'd like to take a minute and read it to council. So to the Burke Educational Grant Committee, as a recipient of the Burke Educational Grant, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you. This scholarship has helped me to cover a lot of my college expenses this year, which has allowed me to focus more on the quality of my education rather than the cost. This past semester, I've achieved a 4.0 GPA, and I plan to continue working hard to make the most out of the opportunities that have been given to me. Thank you again for the support you have given me through the scholarship. It is truly appreciated. Sincerely, Olivia Havron.
That's nice.
So that was, I really appreciated that. Thanks for providing that to me. I think that's really awesome that she was willing to reach out and thank us for that opportunity that we gave her. So on to new business. I know that we have 2 vacant seats on the commission, but I think we're going to appoint at our February council meeting. I honestly would like for the Burke Trust Committee, though, to have a meeting to just, we have a handful of things to discuss, I believe, separate from the commission as well. So if everyone doesn't mind, maybe have a committee with, have a meeting with just us, and then we can give Travis some dates once we get confirmation of the new members before the, between the last 2 weeks of February, what's a good date to have a full meeting with everybody?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay. Wednesday, I mean, I could do like February 12th, unless you guys want to do it sooner. Does it, I mean, I don't think there's really urgency. I just would like to do it before the next meeting, if possible.
Okay, and this is just the small.
Yeah, that's our small
Okay.
committee.
And you said, I'm sorry, what date was it?
The 12th, it's a Wednesday. It'd be the day before our meeting, I believe.
Shouldn't be a problem.
5:30, okay?
Uh-huh, for me.
Is that okay for everybody else? Let me see here. I think that's all I have to say. Yes, I think that's it.
February 12th, 5:30.
5:30 in
Thank
council
you.
chambers.
Now, that could feasibly change if we have new committee assignments prior to that date, correct?
Yes, if that
Okay.
happens, we'll just reschedule, I guess, via email or something.
Okay.
When the members just get re-notified and then the new members show? Or
Yeah, we'll
think
check
that-
for availability if there's changes.
Yeah.
Now, is council appointing one new member to that?
Yes. Mayor gets one for a 2-year term and council gets one for a 2-year term. And I think we need to discuss the scholarships, we need to discuss the community grant. So there's the money for the festival, so
Yeah.
I think there's a handful of things, the fireworks. So, okay, thank you, that's all I have, thank you.
All right, thank you. Personnel Committee, Ms. Brown.
We have not met, but I do foresee a need for a future meeting, mainly because with talks of dissolve, there's always, fear for employees that arises with that. I know other villages have put in severance packages and things like that, but my main concern is just seeing where morale is and if what we can do to ensure that they are not feeling drugged down to where our village residents are receiving that same feeling. Because a lot of times, with any kind of customer service position, they can tell when you're having a bad day. It comes out, even when you're trying not to, even if you're the nicest person in the world. It's hard when you're stressed and you're worried, and you have a life that you have to function still. You have a mortgage and kids and pressures of daily life. So I do foresee that we will have future meetings. I don't know when. Also, I know Chief Teague wanted to meet with some handbook changes. So we may just lump that all together once he's ready with that. But I just want everybody on personnel to kind of be thinking about the morale of people. So.
Excellent, thank you. Communication Commission, that was my old spot. We have not had a meeting since November, I think. We do have another one scheduled for February 27th at 6:30. So that's when our next one will be. And then they will pick a new chair for that committee once that gets all, we will have to fill, well, my seat will get filled by Lucy's committee changes. I think that will get filled that way. And I think we're good other than that, so. So that's all I have. So that moves to call numbers. Ms. Brown.
All right, I have a couple resident questions. One was Davis Lane. There's been a drainage issue for years, and they were wondering where maybe they are following on our schedule of repairs. I know we've been trying to repair things as finance permits.
I'm not sure exactly what the issue there is.
Which
but we can-
blocks? Unfortunately, I don't have a name because the post on Bethel Banding Together ended up deleted. It was a woman, she'd spoken to Travis before at some point. It floods really bad in that area. I know it's a small area, so I'm not sure.
No. Davis Lane's, 3 blocks long or 4 blocks
Yeah.
long?
So I don't know if we have any kind of record of past.
Well, Tony and I'll drive it, take a look, and see if I
Okay.
can figure out what
Which area?
the issue is. there.
Okay. And the other one was the area by the car wash in the village. when do we have a foreseen,
So that is part of the Cherry Street repair.
Okay.
So that will be hopefully late summer.
late summer? And will that improve drainage there, do you think?
Yes, it will.
Okay. All right. The other thing was with the coyotes, if they did start to pose dangerous issues, I know some communities have hired like sharpshooters to,
We'd have to pass an ordinance making that legal
Okay.
to hunt
do it.
inside there, and then that would be up to council if they chose to hire an outside company to hunt them.
and then reverse it if,
Yes.
once the problem was taken care of.
Yep.
Because they are walking like in town now.
Yeah,
like North
they're
Carolina.
getting very bold, is a good way to put it. I know we've got quite a few complaints from village residents, and even out by Legion Lane, there's been some complaints out there too. You know, it's Mother Nature, I don't know, you know, how much we're gonna be able to do about it, but, yeah, we definitely can look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, about 11:30 last night, there was about 7 or 8 of them over in the cemetery.
Yep, yep.
Well, I know,
Trap them at all?
You can live trap them. You can live trap, there is no restriction on the hunting when I talked to the game warden today, so they absolutely said you could live trap them. The issue then would be euthanizing them after you live trapped them. And if that's what council wishes to do, we can always arrange that to happen.
Okay.
so would we have to vote on that if people started live trapping them or anything?
Well, you'd probably have to talk to Emily about her research on legally what we can do. I know per the game warden, there's not an issue if we euthanize them because they're not like a deer, you know, or anything like that. I just think it would want to go through her to be reviewed first to make sure we're not
So-
doing anything we shouldn't be doing.
So maybe we could have you do that just to be safe in case they do start attacking?
Well, I guess the question is, what is it that we want to do? Do we want to have a scenario where we're allowing residents to live trap them and then have the police department deal with it? Or are we looking at a scenario where we're going to bring in someone to specifically target?
I would kind of make the suggestion of doing the live trap, and then that could be something that maybe the village owns a couple of traps and someone, you know, maybe even calls utilities and they come out and drop them for a couple of days. Then they just call the office whenever they come up, and then either we can come collect them or the utility department can come collect them. We can always take them out to the waterworks facility and euthanize them out there, if it does come to that.
I can look at that.
That's I would feel more comfortable with that than just people randomly shooting them.
Yes, I would feel much more comfortable doing that myself too.
And I assume they would be euthanized humanely?
Yeah, probably the most cost-efficient way, to be quite honest with you, is to dispatch them with a rifle or a shotgun. It's probably going to be the cheapest, and you know, unfortunately, humane-wise, you know,
Can you get them with one shot?
if you're good.
That's
yeah.
all I'm asking.
Yes. We can discuss the particulars later on.
We had an officer on Davis Lane to dispatch a skunk that
Yep.
was acting
Yep.
funny.
One of the veterinarians.
And
That would have been.
he
the
finally
initial-
died of great amounts of lead poisoning.
Yes. That particular skunk did not want to die.
I just don't want to, I don't want to be part of it, and I don't want to ignore the residents' concerns either. Like, I'm an animal person, so.
The reason why he brought it up is because we had some serious conversation out at the Legion the other night when they had their meeting, and there was people that were having their dogs and their cats missing.
Yeah.
There was a post where one of them tried to jump through someone's window at their house. So I mean, and with, you know, like I said last night, I heard 6 or 7 of them, probably about from here to BP away from me when I was outside last night.
They were in our they're in my backyard.
And if they're getting bold enough to take cats and dogs, then they may get bold enough to take a child. And, you know, so that's something that I think that we need to really look into.
Unfortunately.
Right, I agree, and I do feel more comfortable though if we look into it from a police aspect. I don't know if everybody else feels that way, but that's just my 2 cents, that they be the ones to handle it.
So Emily will get back to us on that, and then we'll pick up on it next time.
I still got more.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go for it.
I listen to people, sorry, guys. One, I want to thank everybody for being here, everybody who's had to leave and everything. I know that takes time out of your day, but it shows that interest in the community as a whole. Hopefully you all had a great Christmas and holiday season, and spent it better than I did mine, which was sick. The other thing is I had a request, and I don't know if everybody else got this, for Second Amendment Sanctuary Village. I don't know how feasible that is or what, but I am 100% supporter of the Second Amendment, so I don't have a problem with it. I think that would probably fall back to Emily on research, maybe, I don't know. It seems like this is a new trend from what the email kind of said, others have done it.
I don't know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, the gun laws in Ohio are governed by the state of Ohio,
Right.
not, most local gun laws are preempted by state law.
Yeah.
So state law is what governs, and state law is what we have to follow. The one exception to that is probably the one that the chief just referred to, that he said he would not like to see go away, which is that you're not allowed to discharge a firearm within the village limits.
Okay.
That is probably the only local gun law that's probably gonna stay on the books, other than zoning restrictions about where gun shops can be and things like that. Those are still enforceable, but, I'm not exactly sure what a Second Amendment sanctuary city is, but I can tell you that we have to follow
Yeah,
Ohio law
right.
on gun regulations.
I think
And that
what
makes
she's
sense.
referring to is something, like it happened in New York, where, they've taken away citizens' gun rights, and pretty much taken away the Second Amendment.
Yeah, so we can't do that
Yeah.
under state law.
Maybe their state law is different.
Yeah, I mean.
yeah, maybe so. And then the other thing that I had was, sorry. Entertainment for the kids. I know that's been a big post on Bethel Banding Together. They want to see what the village can do. Personally, I think with our funds are regulated by the state. We can't take things out of most funds. General fund is the exception to that rule. We try to run a pretty tight ship here. I know that as far as organizations coming in, I don't foresee anybody on council ever saying, no, I'm against a Boys and Girls Club, but I do believe those are privately ran. I don't think that we can influence where they go. I think they select where they go. As far as a rec center or something like that takes funds, I know our skate park was gotten to us by people taking the initiative, going out and getting the funds for that. I don't think we would oppose any use of empty land for something like that. The other thing they wanted to see about was using the community center as maybe like a game center where people brought their own consoles, but I think Chief might say that that's a liability for us to take on from his standpoint, from being able to watch that and maintain that. But they did want us to start brainstorming on things that the village could do. They were still upset about the swimming pool, and honestly, I'm not sure what happened with the swimming pool. I know I went to it when I was little.
That's such a dead horse.
Yeah, and I don't know that we have any land that we could even, if we wanted to entertain putting a swimming pool at it. But just so that we all just kind of start brainstorming, I think that's the goal, to give kids something to do besides hanging out in parking lots. I know the Shepherd's Place is a great place for kids. I know the Champion program at school has taken off, but I think they're looking more for like movie theater and other enterprises that maybe would have to change how we function as a village to do. And that was all that I have on those topics. I will discuss other stuff maybe next time.
All right, thank you, Ms. Brown. All right, Mr. Coogan.
I really have nothing outside of the fact that I need sponsors for my programs.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Shepherd?
I do want to welcome Ron back to being in government service again. I can't believe you're doing it again, but you are, so. I think that I think the village, and I'm going to call you something, Mr. Gilpin, and don't be offended.
It's never good.
You're our watchdog, but you're a good watchdog. You keep track of our finances for us, you do an exceptional job on that. We have some money to spend. Mr. Dotson is finding programs for us at reduced costs. I mean, we have to put some money up front for that to begin with, but I think we've got a good thing going on in this village. We are solvent. We're not going backwards, we're going forwards. And yes, whether or not we can find something else for those, well, I can't call them hooligans, can I? Mischievous children that need some entertainment in the village.
Be less work for the chief.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we have quite a
probably.
few complaints after school.
Don't have to take any bicycles or skateboards away from them like we used to have to do at the post office. They love that ramp. We'll just continue to go forward. I think Bethel has something good, really good going on here. And thank you, Mr. Watchdog.
Thank you, Ms. Shepherd. Next is Ms. Hollifield.
I think Lucy read my notes.
I can't see that far.
I just wanted to welcome Ron, and looking forward to working with you and another year or 2 or 4 with the rest of you as well. Thanks to all the candidates who applied. I know it seems Mr. Reed had to leave, but we will be coming after you to continue to do things for this village, and I love your passion and your commitment that you're showing, so thank you. I think we need to remain fiscally responsible, like Lucy said. Thank you to Bill for making sure that the money is where it is, to the 0.5% that's coming in to keep our police force going. But I don't want people in the village to think that you're paying this 0.5% now, so there's all this extra money to spend, because there's not. So we still need to be fiscally responsible and continue to be held accountable for the money we are spending, and show that what we are spending and what we are getting grants and matches for is for the betterment of this community. Looking forward to a prosperous 2020. And other than thanking Bill and Travis, thank you to Emily for all the countless hours that you put in for our village. And I'm confident that you're all, and we are all going to continue to serve to the best of our abilities. That's all I have.
Thank you. And Ms. Ross.
I don't have anything quite profound as that. But thanks everyone for coming tonight. We had a full house in the beginning. It's been one of the most interesting meetings I think I've ever attended, and I've attended quite a few meetings in my short little life. So welcome Ron. Look forward to having you sitting next to me. Jay will be missed, but congratulations, Jay. I have enjoyed my time here so far. I've enjoyed what we have done together as a group. We are a very diverse group, and I think that it brings so much to this village to have everyone come together and try to figure out what is best for everyone in the community. I love that we all listen to the community and what they have to say. You can't know everybody. I mean, I feel like some of us are probably pretty close, but I think that it brings a lot to the table for us. I can tell you just briefly, I've enjoyed being on the Burke Trust. I served on the commission before I was a council member. I learned a lot about the money that was gifted to our small little village and what people have been able to do with it. Travis, Bill, been able to do with it, and how it's been able to grow. And I think that we, in the last couple of years, have done some great things with it, and I'm hoping to do some more great things with it, because I think I don't want to spend a lot of it, but I feel like it is a good resource to help do some good things in the community, and I think that people being able to see some things that are growing and changing and being more modern in their community does help for some decisions we have to make, like regarding the income tax. So I know it doesn't all come out in the wash, but I do appreciate that we are able to give back to the community in that way. So I do look forward to the next couple of years. serving on this community, so let's see what this year has to offer. Oh, and then real quick, I may not make the town hall. Just to go ahead and let you know that. So there's a STEM presentation at the intermediate school, so I'm going to try my best. But just to let you know, if I do not show up, that I will be at the intermediate school.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Mr. Dunn.
First off, I'd like to thank council members for their vote of confidence in appointing me to the seat. I hope I don't disappoint. I will be quiet at times, but when I'm not quiet, you'll know. And speaking to the Burke Trust, I think I was the first and still may be the only recipient of a Burke Trust Scholarship who has served on council. Second.
Yes.
All right. So now I'm back. But I'm very much looking forward to the task at hand. I would not have asked to be involved if I thought it was not worthwhile, and I hope to live up to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, that puts us to legislation. First order would be ordinance 1931, an ordinance to amending the Village of Bethel personnel policy and declaring it an emergency.
This is to allow spouses to participate in the fitness membership program. As you recall, in December, we adopted that policy. And this would allow spouses to join, and it would be a payroll deduction. The full amount of the membership would be deducted. So there wouldn't be a subsidy for the spouse, but it would allow them to get the membership through the village.
At the $25.
At $25.
So it's still a lower rate.
Right, but it's
not.
the village isn't subsidizing it.
And that does go into effect tonight if we vote on it?
Yes.
Okay.
If you vote on it, it'll go into effect tonight.
All right, so I'm looking for waive the 3.
Yes, motion to
Okay, so
suspend.
I'm looking for a motion to waive the 3 on ordinance 1931.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right. Ms. Shepherd, so moved? No, okay.
I first did.
Ms. Hallfield so moved, and Ms. Shepherd seconded it. If I can have you call the roll for me there, Mr. Gilpin?
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Thank you. Now to adopt ordinance 1931. Look for a motion.
Make a motion, we adopt ordinance 1931.
I second that.
All right, so Ms. Ross and Mr. Coogan. Mr. Gilpin, when you're ready.
Through discussion.
Huh? We have to do discussion?
If there's any discussion.
Is there discussion?
I just want to point out that with health memberships, our police stay fit. It also lowers cost on insurance because exercise lowers your risk of heart disease and stroke and things like that, and obesity and all that good stuff. So there is a benefit to allowing the employees to do that the residents will see in the form of us saving money and lowering cost.
All right, anyone else? All right, Mr. Gilpin?
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
And declared an emergency.
Okay, now I'll make a motion for ordinance 1931 and declare it an emergency.
So moved.
Second that.
All right, Ms. Shepherd and Ms. Brown. Mr. Gilpin, when you're ready.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So ordinance 1931 is adopted. All right, next order is Resolution 1041, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to submit applications for the community development block grant funds, to accept the grant funds, and to enter into any necessary contracts for expenditures of the community development block grant funds. This is the third reading, so we're looking for a motion to adopt.
Make a motion, we adopt resolution 1041.
I will second that.
And it's Ms. Ross and Ms. Hollifield. Mr. Gilpin?
Okay. Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So that resolution's adopted? Correct. And now we're to approval of expenses. So I'm looking for a motion for approval of the expenses for December, right?
I move we approve the expenses for December
2019.
2019.
Second.
All right, I heard Ms. Shepherd and Ms. Ross. So, Mr. Gilpin?
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
All right, that's approved, and now we're payment of the bills, looking for...
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
I've heard Ms. Brown first.
Well, I'll second it if you need somebody else.
What's up with that?
I heard you guys thought you want that Hallfield or Ms.
Oh, I don't
Hallfield?
care. You give it to Miss Brown, that's okay.
Okay, all right, so Ms. Brown and Ms. Shepherd.
Okay. Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Hallfield?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And
I make a motion we adjourn.
I second, I third it.
so all in favor, say aye. Those opposed, same sign.
No,